Joanna, this is such a great role for you. I think she's an enigma because we don't know much about her. Uh, just the hair and the very strict ways to her. How did they originally describe her to you?
Well, they didn't try and describe her because I think she's a bit, as you say, it's not easy to sum her up. Um, but I read the book, so I started with the book um, before the scripts, and then actually when I read the scripts in relation to the original novel, I thought, oh, actually they've kind of even made her slightly different from the book. So she seems to be somebody who has, I wouldn't call it, let's call it hidden shallows rather than hidden depths. But it's not, she's not quite what she seems. She's somebody who's cannier than she would seem at the beginning. But at the same time, not a little bit narrow and not able to see her own failings. I think one of the things that happened naturally when we were filming is I kind of developed a bit of an alliance with with Roddy. And Moira and Roddy actually kind of strangely get on. And I think it's both that both of them just can't quite see life for what it is. And both of them have in it an overly grand view of themselves in relation to the rest of the people that they work with. And they both believe in themselves, but really perhaps would be wiser to doubt than to believe. So I think she kind of is one of those people who puts up the question of, is self-belief and self-confidence ultimately the right thing if it doesn't reflect reality and truth?
Well, I love the outfits and the hair. Was that all there for you in this when you walked in the first day? They had it all planned out for you with the hair and the dresses and even the necklaces.
Oh, thank you for that. Guy will be delighted, costume designer, that you say that. It was no, it in the books, she's wearing kind of mousy cardigans and stuff. And they really wanted to make they wanted to make her seem and look really different from Standish. So because Catherine Standish wears sort of fairly kind of beigey, porridgey kind of clothing. They wanted to do something different with Moira, just so it was obvious from the beginning that there was a new type of person in that office in Slough House. So my first costume fitting, I couldn't believe it. I was chatting to them outside, and they said, "Shall we just go and have a look at the options?" And they had got, I would say, like 40 different full outfits to try. They really thought about it, and we worked really hard to get a kind of look that was something that's quite, in a way, quite unique. And similarly, they worked with the hair and makeup so that she again looked sort of very, you wouldn't put those things together necessarily. It feels so odd. It feels very real. I think it's very recognizable. And I've worked in corporate kind of situations, and I think she sees herself as a corporate administrator. And they are proud of, they're proud of themselves and how they look, and always want to look super professional. And I think that's what we went for. And it was brilliant. I mean, in terms of actual designers, the designers we were trying to kind of channel was Jean Muir. I don't know if you even would know who she is now, but she was a huge sort of British designer in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. And that's what we were thinking of would be her sort of influence.
I love that we meet these two agents have just been waterboarding. And she's not even faced. She's just annoyed that there's water on the floor. And as you do say, she does seem, unaffected. She's kind of just proud of the work she's put in, not just at the park, but the work that she just does. Did they discuss what her first opinions of Slough House was, or is it just that she's such a proud, person that no matter where she's put, she's happy because she's doing her job.
Yes, I think that's right. She's very professional. She thinks she's bringing something important to a place which needs her. Um, I don't think I think she'd prefer to be in the park, because, she just is, she's doesn't like dirt and mess and confusion and violence, but she is nonetheless, the task is there and she will pick it up and she will carry it and she will tick it off at the end of the day. She's a doer.
Is the medicine ball that she wears sort of to cover up for Jackson's, let's say, unkemptness?
And
Or is it to as a comfort for her?
no, it is to cover over the stench. But I mean, arguably that's become habitually, she just has it as a psychological amulet against him as well. So a tussy, it's called a tussy mussy, one of those things. And it's a nosegay or something that is going to, that you can put a nice perfume or something inside so that you can just cover up a vile stink, if you encounter one, and you just have it around your neck. I think it's an 18th century idea from when the world was really did stink and you had to walk down the street with rivers of excrement. And that's what it's called. It's called a tussie mussy. But it has possibly become a bit of a habit that she's sniffing it as she goes in order to gain courage as well.
Well, this is such an exceptional role for you. I'm curious to find out what she really thinks of Jackson being a part of, well, being in charge of this. She's quite a formidable adversary for him in that way. She doesn't put up with his nonsense.
No, that's right. That's right. And I think they needed to find a balance there because she's so able to handle him in some ways that you wouldn't have the show if she was really going to be strong enough. She nearly is, but not quite. I think that it's an important kind of pull back into her being subordinate is quite important structurally to make the show still work. Because otherwise, because she doesn't really care about offending him, and he doesn't care about offending anyone, they are pretty well matched and pretty, even Stevens. But once she realizes he's going to be useful to her in that it's going to get her back into a cleaner, nicer, more pleasant world, that once she's done her deal with him, then I think they're on the same page.
Well, I'm excited for the next couple episodes. The season is just never enough for me. And you are so seamlessly involved with this show. You fit so wonderfully in. Sorry, at Slough House. And the work you do on the series is just exceptional. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I hope you really enjoy the next two, the finales as we reach towards the finale, because I think it's a brilliant series and I think you get some really juicy storylines as they play out and towards the end. So I hope you enjoy them as much as you've enjoyed it so far.
Wonderful. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jamie.